Looking back and looking ahead, the wrap-up to 2025 is here for the Black and Gold. Hello, everyone. This is LAFC Plus. So great for you to join us yet again. Episode 83. He is Mario Ruiz. I am Dave Denholm, and we are just privileged to bring this to you every week here for the 2025 season, which is now, as we say, wrapped up, Mario. Tough way to go out, but most importantly, happy Thanksgiving. Let's start on a positive. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. But still trying to grieve this pain. That's for sure. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm taking it day by day, and then every day I run into somebody in the hallway at either like ESPN LA that says, "Oh, what happened," or I run into the dads at my son's soccer club, and they all know that we work at LAFC, so they ask me, or the waiter at the sushi spot, the local sushi spot, he'll ask me. So it's like trying to get over it, but then everywhere you go, people are asking and bringing it up. So it's a day by day type of thing, trying to get over this. But we're getting there, slowly but surely.
Yeah, look, the season is over. A great game. If you're a neutral, it was an amazing game. I heard people talking about how it was the best game of the year so far. Of course, few games left in the playoffs as well. But 2-2, the only team who didn't advance that actually scored in the conference semifinals was LAFC. All the other games ended up in shutout victories for the winners. But the Black and Gold fought back, and they fought back hard. We'll talk a little bit about that, of course. And we'll take a look at the 2025 season as a whole, maybe even take a peek at 2026 here on this episode. So a lot to get to, Mario. It was a thrilling game. Didn't start out that way, certainly. A tale of two halves is what I wrote down in my notes afterwards. Obviously, Vancouver came out flying. LAFC was trying to just ease into the game. Went pretty well that way defensively for quite a bit of the first half, actually. And Vancouver had a few little half chances, but weren't really dangerous with all the possession they had. But then late in the half, a couple of key plays really for Vancouver. And they, to their credit, they capitalized. And at the end of the first half, with LAFC not getting a shot on goal, we're trailing 2-0. But then Steve Cherundolo made a few changes at half, made a few little tactical moves, certainly made a difference. LAFC were on the front foot really the rest of the match. To me, they handled Vancouver the rest of the way. There wasn't much that Vancouver did, Mario, that I thought was terribly dangerous after the first half, frankly. Now, they're holding a 2-0 lead, to be fair, as well. So they're not necessarily trying to press every minute. But Mario, Son Heung-Min, obviously we've talked all about that, gets the first goal in the 60th, but then in the 90+5, this is the goal you heard on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. Here it is, my call from Son's goal to tie it up late.
The right foot, curler, in! He's done it! Son Heung-Min has done it! He scores the curling free kick! It's 2-2! Oh!
Did you think we were winning right then, Mario?
Of course, yeah, definitely. Yep. I remember when he stepped up to that free kick, he stepped up to tie the game there, and there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to score that. This is exactly what the fans paid their money for, and this is what Sonny does. He is blockbuster every single time, and he is just straight entertainment, and it's just that's part of his promise, I think, because at the beginning of the year, when he first got here to LAFC, at the beginning of his tenure here with LAFC, he was saying that he wants to repay the fans. And there's no better way to repay the fans than with excitement and with wins and with trophies. Now, that is still yet to come. The winning and all the trophies are still yet to come, but the future is definitely bright with Son Heung-Min coming back and a lot of the core coming back. So the future is bright there. But yeah, definitely, that is exactly what MLS wants. That is what the fans want. And that's why he is straight entertainment. And that's why we're so pumped for next season to get a full season of Sonny.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's going to be awesome. No doubt about that. And he is entertainment. That's what, as you say, and that's the business we're in too. People forget that, we're in the entertainment business, not the soccer business.
More than anything, we are in the entertainment business, and especially when guys like you and I, we work in this, we realize that even more as we realize, all the effort, all the work, all the preparation that goes into each and every night at a stadium or in a broadcast. This is entertainment. And this is what he brings. And this is why he's such an important player, not only for LAFC, for the league, for MLS, and for the sport. Guys like Messi and him, this is why they get paid the big, big bucks.
And yet, it's obviously we don't want to minimize not winning, because it's not like going to a concert. That's entertainment too, but you don't feel the pain of losing when you go to a concert. That's the problem.
Right.
It is deeper than just going to a ball game or something, or just going to something you don't care about. Of course we care, because it's still killing us. And yet, gosh, he is pure entertainment, and yet he's a winner too. And we'll get there with him. There's no doubt about that. Didn't quite happen. You go to PKs. I think maybe as ridiculous as it would seem to sound, in a way, Vancouver, in hopes of getting to PKs, I think that's what their goal was, especially being down a man and then 2 men. But in a weird way, it might have been better for them at 10 men than 11. I know that seems weird, but looking back, I don't think they would have defended as hard with 11 men. And LAFC were kind of getting rolling offensively. And and that just allowed Vancouver, obviously you then have to bunker. It makes sense. That's good game management. You're probably not going to score against a full-strength LAFC side when you're down a man and then down 2 men. Of course, when you're at 9 men, you're just hanging on for the final 10 minutes, Mario. But for the 20 minutes there, roughly, after Blackman gets the red card until Bilal Halbouni gets the injury, I mean, they were 10 men might have been better serving Vancouver in terms of the ultimate goal of just getting out of there somehow. And indeed, that's what happens, So
you can recap that game, that loss at BC Place in so many different ways. We can go in so many different directions. But the way I'm going to go is like LAFC did more than enough to win that game. Should have won that game. Didn't play, the best first half, and we all know that, of course. But they did come back in dramatic fashion in the second half, thanks to the willpower of Heung-Min. I mean, even on that first goal, that ball was gonna get in somehow, some way. If it was ricocheting all over his body, he was gonna get that ball in, and that's exactly what happened. So, led by Heung-Min and his willpower, LAFC, all the guys, just their willpower, they're just all their effort going forward. It was just a matter of finishing one of those many chances, and it just did not go in. And I'm a person of faith, so I just say it wasn't in God's plan for LAFC to advance. That's all I could put it up to, because the chances were there. But we've been talking about this all year long. Cherundolo been talking about this all year long. You need to finish your chances. You can give all the effort you want. You could dominate the whole game. But if you're not finishing, and then the other team finishes the few chances that they get, then you just lost the game. You're caught in a bad spot. You're out of there. You're knocked out of the playoffs just like that. So you got to be able to finish. Vancouver deserved it, but I feel LAFC deserved. They did enough to win that game. Just did not find the back of the net. I don't know how. Still baffles me. But that's the story. That's it.
Well, when you're a goal scorer like Denis Bouanga, look, you're not going to 100% of your chances that hit a post are not going in, right? Some will. They'll hit the post and go in. Most will hit the post and actually not go in. Yeah. But if Denis had even just a fair representation of how many times he hit the post, he'd have probably had 30 goals this year. And I'm not talking about every one of them goes in, because that's just never going to happen. But holy cow, I mean, he would have scored 4, 5, 6 more goals this season. And, of course, that played out in this game, too. Denis hitting the post a couple of times in the final seconds, or the real final chance for LAFC. Just that was kind of summed it up in a way. Once you look back, you're like, But I got to say, and look, Mario, you touched on it a little bit. Not a good first half. When you struggle, I'll say it was one of their worst halves of the season. Sorry. I mean, if you come out and you're trying to defend and get to, halftime, and you want to, keep it tight. I get it. You're on the road. That's fine. Whatever. You don't want to, you're not going to be just wide open, but you can't give up 2 goals like that then. If you're going to play like that, that was one of their worst halves of the season. Bad timing for that, no doubt. But it happens, and they rebounded, and they, turned it around immediately. But the problem becomes in a playoff, and again, this isn't even a really criticism, but when you do struggle like that in the first half, like LAFC did, especially the deeper you get in against good teams, that just opens up the possibility of getting knocked out. I mean, And Vancouver, to their credit, took advantage. Some teams couldn't, maybe wouldn't. And then maybe LAFC goes in at 0-0 in the first half, right? Like maybe a poorer team doesn't even capitalize on that. Vancouver did, and then they hold on. So when you have a struggling half like that in the playoffs and you give 45 minutes of, oof, we just don't have it, somehow we got to turn this around, and thankfully they did. I mean, still fall short, but it was really exciting, and they had a shot. I thought they were going to win it too. Like once that goal went in for Sun, I think they did too. But when you open up the possibility of losing when you play a poor half like that in the playoffs, and that just goes to tell you, and I'm not trying to take it too far this way, MLS is a lot stronger than people think, man. You cannot, in this deep part of the playoff, you can't have a half like that. You might survive that once in a while. Yes, they almost did. Yeah, would have been incredible. But it's kind of like, okay, you can see how they lost. Really, I mean, you're not playing a poor team here. No disrespect to any team I name, but you're not playing Sporting Kansas City. It's not. You're going to get punished for those, and that's what happened. Just like LAFC punished Vancouver's mistakes in the second half. And just let's remember they didn't lose too. It's one of the things I have a pet peeve about. You lose in PKs. It was a draw. Right. I mean, and we won MLS Cup on a draw. Don't get me wrong. And it's the way it is. Like sometimes that's going to happen, but it was just a back and forth game. Tale of two halves. I mean, just incredible, really. From a neutral perspective, if you could be a neutral in that game, you had to love it. Sadly, we were just on the wrong end of it, and that's just the way it goes.
And if one of those chances late in the game that goes off of the post, or all those chances they had late in the game, if one of those goes in, then obviously we're not even talking about that first half. Obviously,
one of the best wins of the year. Yeah, I mean, no question, of course.
They did enough.
One of the best wins in LAFC history. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It
just did not find the back of the net, but the chances were there. But that being said, it was always going to be in that first half. It was always going to be a balance of sticking to your identity, trying to do that while also respecting them and having the ultimate respect for how dangerous that Vancouver team is, especially at home and with Thomas Mueller leading the way. So it was that balance, right? And I think they kind of lost a little bit of that balance. It went Vancouver's way in that first half, but they did enough to come back in that second half. And that's gut-wrenching to everybody, gut-wrenching to Steve. Steve was very emotional after the game because he felt that his guys did everything they could and they deserved that win. And I agree. And it's just a tough way for Steve to go out. And I do want to say big thank you to Steve Cherundolo, who took the time to sit down with me every single week and just at the training facility just to talk about the upcoming game, talk about the last game. And he always had just the smartest answers, very informative answers, and just straight to the point, and gave me like the perfect nugget, the perfect amount of answer for each question. And, even whenever I did ask him like some of the lighter fun questions, he showed personality because he has a great personality. And we try to keep it light and fun at some times because it was kind of getting monotonous. I can imagine for him to come in to talk to me each and every single week about last game, upcoming game, last game, upcoming game. But just big shout out to Steve. Thank you for everything, for making my job as easy as possible, and again, and good luck going forward. And we'll see you again sometime soon. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, definitely. Always fun to talk to him. Always enjoyed it. Got a lot out of it too myself. Learned a lot along the way, and I think, I mean, look, he won us our first MLS Cup. That'll never be forgotten. And like he knows he's a legend, and did that. Won the Supporter Shield, won MLS Cup, won a U.S. Open Cup. I mean, come on,
Thank you for all those incredible moments and trophies. Yeah,
absolutely.
A lot of finals or incredible moments with Steve Cherundolo. And Ryan Holling said the other day he was talking about Cherundolo coaching his last game with LAFC and all the love that he had for Steve Cherundolo and still has for Steve Cherundolo. Check this out.
Moment, hard to sum up. In a short meeting, how much he's meant to the players, this club for the last 4 years. the amount of highs we've had, some lows that we've had. It's hard to put all that together in 4 years, but the message was clear. It was a ton of gratitude from all sides, and in this sport, just how difficult it is to win trophies. And so he won almost every trophy you could win, and to do that for a club that is constantly seeking for trophies is really cool, and a great legacy he's left. He meant a lot to me. Really enjoyed playing for him. Learned a ton. Became the best version of myself as a player under him, and his knowledge of the game, his knowledge of especially outside back and helping me in that role. So it's a real big loss, but also a ton of excitement for what's to come. He set the table really well for the joy we'll have kind of moving forward, and excitement for what we know we can do in the next couple of years. So sad moment, but also one that I think both sides, club and Steve, look back on with a ton of gratitude.
And then Ryan also went on to talk about the returning core, because it is a good returning core that's coming back next season, and then how much these guys are looking forward to doing big things in 2026 as well.
The talking points for us, especially as the players, has been knowing that we have a big core returning, knowing that I think since I've been here, this is the most amount of players coming back for the following season. I think that's the goal for us, is whoever comes in, we're going to be ready to push, and we're going to be ready to fight for some really, really special things next year. So the guys are excited about that. There's usually a lot of uncertainty, not knowing who's going to get brought in or what signings are going to happen, and that's not true of this year. And so knowing who we have and who's returning, we've got our eyes set on some big things next year.
Yeah, a lot of excitement for 2026 already, and you could just see it. You could just see it in his voice and his face. Yeah,
Mario. Yeah, I think he's absolutely right. Obviously, there's plenty to look forward to as we do. I do want to just real quick though talk about the top moments from this season. Again, I know we touched a little bit on this along the way. Of course, just ask you, what are your couple things that stand out from 2025, Mario?
I think my top moment of 2025,
I think we're going to agree on this.
was May 31st at BMO Stadium when LAFC defeated Club America to qualify for the FIFA Club World Cup. I've never seen so much football passion at BMO Stadium in one night. The crowd was, I remember it was split 50-50 and maybe even 60-40 for Club America, because everybody knows how big that fan base is, how big that club is for Club America. But when you heard the two sides, the two supporter groups just chanting back and forth, they were drowning each other out. The atmosphere was amazing. It was fireworks in the stadium. Like literally, I have a little bit of footage here from whenever I was in the stadium, just like with my iPhone and just like capturing everything. You hear the fireworks going off in the background. You see the smoke on one side, smoke on the other side. The atmosphere was incredible that night. And of course, LAFC won that match, clinched their spot to get into the FIFA Club World Cup. A historic night for LAFC. And I know you feel the same just like me about that night. What a night.
Yeah, that's definitely, to me, the highlight of 2025. Certainly the first goal from Heung-Min, and just his obviously just coming into the club the way he did late in the season and kind of revitalizing what is a long season. It gives you just more of a refocus, so to speak, and that kind of talent is going to be joining you for the last, the stretch run, and that's just amazing, no doubt.
It was a lift for sure. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Playing Chelsea now, not just because it's Chelsea and whatever. Let me explain for the listener. That's a huge moment for me because, we won the way to get in, of course, and that's the most important. You beat Club America in that play-in game. One of the highlights is playing Chelsea because they ended up in a 2-0 victory. They deserved to beat us. I mean, they were the better team on the day, but it was a good game. Like LAFC, we didn't know what to expect. Nobody did, really, for any of these MLS teams coming into games that counted, finally, truly counted against the top teams in the world, right? So it was a good game, good match, no doubt. We didn't deserve to win. I'm not sitting there, rewriting history, but it was a good match, 2-0, and didn't deserve to be much more or any more. Certainly, LAFC had some chances too. Maybe they could have, but Chelsea goes on to win the whole thing, beating PSG worse than they beat us. Mario, I just watched the Premier League match over the last weekend. They handled Burnley, who's, bottom tier Premier League team, far easier than they handled us in the summer. And I know it's I'm not comparing or whatever. And I'm not saying, we're better than PSG because they lost worse. Chelsea just ran over Barcelona in the Champions League just hours ago, right? Just this week.
Yep.
And obviously it's been a day or two. Ran over Barcelona. Chelsea is phenomenal. So just the fact that we go, and then to draw Flamengo, we had a rough one against Esperance. You know what? Esperance is better than people think. So that was a tough game. They deserved it.
Yeah.
And then to play Flamengo, toe-to-toe, 1-1, to me, and then the reason it was so special is I now know how badly I want to get back to the Club World Cup too. That's everything. I'm sorry. You have to get there. If
you know what that says, though? Those scores and those games that you're talking about, Chelsea beating these other teams and LAFC playing a good match, a decent match against Chelsea, that just shows that LAFC is not just any other MLS team. And that's something I try to tell other people, because other people have their perception or have their ideas about MLS, and that's fine. You can have that. But when it comes to LAFC is different. LAFC is on a whole nother level. LAFC is doing big things. So when I have these conversations and I tell people that LAFC is one of the best teams in North America and can compete with teams all over the world, they're not going to win, all these international tournaments, but they can compete, and they're there on the level. They can hold their own in these tournaments. And that's what I try to tell people. And I'm proud of that. Yeah, and another memorable night from 2025 was Noche de Carlos Vela. Carlos Vela was such a fun, just celebration of his career, and to have all of his family there and to see how happy he was that night, and just, to show the fans and everybody there and taking pictures and how much love they have for him. And he truly, truly loves Los Angeles, not just like LAFC, but he loves being a Los Angelino, which is kind of cool. Like, it's so, for me, who's been here my whole life, like, I'm proud that that Carlos has found a home here at LAFC and LA. And another good part about that was Heung-Min was there. He just arrived with LAFC, so he was there that night, and he got to see all the love that he has earned, all the love that Carlos Vela has earned. And hey, maybe, you know what? Maybe one night there's going to be a Sun Heung-Min, a Noche de Sun Heung-Min type of thing, and everybody can celebrate his career at LAFC, which would be great, So that was cool. That was fun.
One of the low-key best moments was the DoorDash bit he had, too. That was incredible. So
that was a good one.
That
was awesome.
Oh, man, that was just... Carlos knocked that out of the park, man. His acting was incredible.
That was one take, because that was in the stadium. He had to do it on the Jumbotron, like one take. That was awesome.
Yeah, it really was a lot of fun. Just a great night. I love that shout, too. Very cool. No doubt about it. So those are the ones that, top moments from the season.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously you fall short in the playoffs. A lot of highs along the way, though, with the stuff we've outlined. And I must say the Club World Cup, I guess, overall, winning your way in the way we did and going and playing like we've talked about. I mean, I'm never going to forget that. You've got to get back there. If you're any club in the world, that should be the goal. It was incredible. The tournament is only going to get bigger and better. Just amazing. We have to get there, and that's a lot. That's easier said than done. There's no doubt about that. You got to go win the club or the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is never easy, but those are things we can look forward to, Mario, and let's talk about that now. Yeah. We turn our attention a little bit to 2026. What are some of the things you're looking forward to? Top 3 things for 2026. We'll go back and forth.
Right off the top, my number one thing right off the top is looking forward to a full year with Sun Heung-Min. I know Steve Cherundolo probably would have loved to have a full year with Sun Heung-Min, because, you can only think about how much higher LAFC would have finished in the Western Conference standings, and we know how important home field advantage is in the playoffs. So a full year with Heung-Min, and like we were talking about earlier, like Ryan Hollingshead was talking about, a nice, good, solid core that is coming back. We've never had such a strong core with two superstars like Denis and Son leading the way. So that's going to be, that's going to be exciting. Just to add a couple more pieces to that core is something to really, really look forward to.
Yeah, I don't disagree. One of the things I actually look forward to as well is a new manager. And because, Steve had said he's leaving, on his own terms, and I'm looking forward to just the fact that after a few seasons, right, people, defenders from other clubs, they start to get used to how you're playing. It makes it a little tougher. You got to tweak all the. Now we'll have some new ideas, and just see how that plays out, because LAFC certainly has the talent. We know that. We saw it when Bob Bradley left, and then Steve comes in, wins the cup right away, the first season, and just how dangerous and deadly we were that season, and how well that went, and I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I think it's just going to be, any kind of like new ideas and stuff, it always can revitalize you potentially if you're a club that's ready for that. And we are, like if you're a club that's struggles with identity, doesn't know what they, who they are, or maybe hasn't won a lot, it doesn't matter sometimes what you do in that sense. So you can try to freshen things up or get a new voice or all that. But like when you're a great club and you're ready for these kind of things, they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready to hit the ground running, as you heard kind of, obviously Ryan talking about like, the future and everything else. I'm really looking forward to that. I am. I think it's going to be fun. It's always exciting to see the next challenge, if you will,
Yeah, it's going to be a moment where, it's going to be a moment where the team is going to, finally turn the page on the, Cherundolo chapter, which was a great era, like you said, just turning the page on getting knocked out of the playoffs and just giving the team that extra excitement, that lift. And I know there's a lot of names, there's a lot of rumors out there, but whoever it is, I'm sure that, the front office is fully confident that LAFC, they are going to be in good hands and they're in a good spot because, like you said, Bob Bradley, he laid down the foundation, he laid down the culture, and he left it in a good spot, like you were talking about for Cherundolo. Cherundolo came in, won some trophies, and he took it to the next level. And now I think this is a really, really good spot that Cherundolo is leaving the next head coach in too, with the stars that we have in the core. So everybody's looking forward to it, and it's just going to be a lot of excitement when that announcement does come down. And okay, now we're ready. Now we know who it is. Let's go forward, because there's a lot of big plans for 2026. So that's something to really, really look forward to, is whenever that announcement comes down for the next LAFC head coach.
And along those lines, in a way, they're similar, certainly. What I'm very much looking forward to is what we don't know yet, because LAFC, look, you start 2025, right? LAFC, we started that year. We have a good idea we're going to be good. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Like we have a good roster, but the tinkering and the tweaking makes us better along the way. We didn't know Heung-Min was going to come to the club. I mean, when we kicked off 2025 back in February of this year, no idea. Like that wasn't even, nobody could tell you that was on their mind. Like it was going to happen. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know that John Thorrington knew it was going to happen. Certainly, like these things do not necessarily happen, that early or whatever. Like nobody knew what Son was going to do. He didn't know what he was going to do in all likelihood, right? Like even. Until the season was over in the Premier League. So I'm kind of excited for what I don't know for 2026 with this club, because they're always looking to improve. Who knows? The sky's the limit, right? We don't know. Like,
and talking about
Gareth Bale was coming back in the day. Did you think, Chiellini? I mean, that's just what I love about this club. Anything is possible.
Yeah. Talking about what we don't know, one thing that's super, super exciting to talk about is LAFC does have a significant chance to qualify for the CONCACAF Champions. That's coming up in February. Now, if any of the remaining teams that's in the playoffs wins, except for NYCFC, if any of those teams win the MLS Cup, then LAFC are going to earn that spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So if Miami, San Diego, or Vancouver win, then LAFC are in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is like the ultimate. That's what everybody is excited about. That's what we need to be in if we want to get into the FIFA Club World Cup. You got to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So that means that LAFC need to hit the ground running in 2026 if they do qualify for this FIFA Club World Cup. They need to have that roster ready. They need to be ready to go even before the MLS regular season, because this CCC tournament, this thing gets going a little bit before the MLS season in February. So if LAFC do qualify for the tournament, then the draw for the CONCACAF Champions Cup is Tuesday, December 9th.
Oh,
and
nice.
that day, we would learn the opponent and the schedule of LAFC if LAFC do qualify for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So, I mean, LAFC could be, you never know. Like you said, we don't know what's happening in 2026. LAFC could be going to Jamaica, could be going to Costa Rica, could be going to Canada, Mexico, all these different countries, Dominican Republic, if they qualify for the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which would be huge to see Son Heung-Min in that tournament.
Well, I'll tell you, I hope right now then that Inter Miami wins in the Eastern Conference Final, because I don't want any of these four teams winning MLS Cup. I know somebody is going to, unfortunately. I don't want to root for any, so I don't want NYCFC making the final and us having to root for either Vancouver or San Diego, right? I just want Inter Miami to beat NYCFC in the semifinals. Get that over with. Then I don't care who wins the cup, right? It's like I don't even want to have to think about rooting for any of these four teams. Well, the other three, I'm hopeful that NYCFC loses. Let's just hope they lose in the semis, or I'm sorry, what would be the Eastern Conference Final now. But let's hope they lose in that Final Four, and we don't have to worry about it going into the final game. But back to LAFC, looking ahead to 2026. Couple of notes. Obviously, the roster in good shape. We touched on that. LAFC. One of the things I'm looking for, they're going to be a real contender, and I know that's virtually every year for LAFC. So that's good. Like you just know they're going to be right at the top of that. But Mario, let me ask you something. What is the biggest need if you think, like, what do we need more of? If there is one, every team's going to tinker, they're going to tweak the, rosters a little bit. They're going to tweak their organizations, everything. Everybody does. Yeah. Even the MLS Cup champion will do that. So what do you think going into 2026?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the core is going to be there, so they're going to be contenders for sure already, just the way they are constructed right now with the superstars like Sonny and Denis that are there. They're leading the way. But we already know that JT, John Thornton, is already looking to improve this roster and wants to see these guys competing each and every day in the training facility, right? Training each and every day, sharpening each other's skills, sharpening each other's swords. I think another solid finisher is something that LAFC will need. And I think a top-class midfielder with a lot of experience that could come in, that would be a game changer for LAFC next season. And who knows? I mean, I think Sonny probably knows his power that he has as far as like maybe persuading people to come, some of his former teammates, some of his friends to maybe come to LAFC. We've seen Messi do stuff like that. Messi knows he can't do it all on his own. He needs to bring in some of his guys and do his recruiting as well. Maybe we see Sonny do some of that as well. So that would be awesome to see. But yeah, anything that helps out this core to get better and put them on the next level is something that I'm looking forward to.
I love that. That's a great call. That's a very good answer. I have no notes on that. I think I completely agree. So looking forward to 2026 already. We do have to talk about around the rest.
One more thing that I'm looking forward to, my third and final thing that I'm looking forward to in 2026 is the season opener. I can't wait for the season opener. It's a massive event, not only for LAFC, but for the entire city, because anytime Messi comes into a town, he is the story. He is the biggest story of that weekend, that day, or whatever. And anytime you get that opportunity to see a superstar, one of the greatest of all times come to your town, you gotta recognize that. And you got to take that opportunity and appreciate it. So if you can get out there, if you can watch, make sure you witness this night. It's going to be an amazing night for LAFC. Heung-Min is a superstar in his own right. So Sonny against Messi. It's going to be an amazing night at the Memorial Coliseum in the season opener. That's something to really look forward to.
Absolutely. That is going to be a highlight, no doubt. But it's a long season, too. It's so funny that it's like the opener is going to be amazing, no doubt about it. I love that. I always love the opener anyway, but this one is just going to be out of control at the Coliseum. I got friends around, asking me around it already, that don't even really know. Like, they already heard about it, don't even really know MLS or soccer that well.
Oh, exactly. That's how big these are.
Yeah,
that's how big Messi is, and Son. Even Son. I mean, Son brings his own. So it's going to be Messi fans. There's going to be Sonny fans. There's going to be Inter Miami fans. There's going to be Argentina fans. There's going to be LAFC fans. It's a mix of just like everybody, and that's what grows the club locally. That's what grows the league.
Absolutely,
it's all great stuff. And just one more side note, just to look forward to as well for next season, is that the games, all the MLS games, are not going to be behind the double, wall of trying to pay for the MLS season pass and then also paying for your Apple subscription. All you got to do is pay for your Apple subscription and you get all the games next year on MLS. No season pass. So that's a good thing for the league.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And by the way, if it's a home game, which that one will be, you can actually hear the radio call on the MLS.
We don't talk about that enough, Dave. We don't talk about that enough, and I know the people that do this, they love it. So this is what you do. You're watching MLS on Apple TV. There's an icon on the bottom right where you can press for the audio. You can choose the home radio broadcast. While you're watching LAFC on Apple TV, you can listen to the ESPN LA radio broadcast with your man right there, Dave Denholm, on the call, and nobody calls a game like Dave Denholm. So it's a cool feature. Make sure you remember this for the next season. We'll remind you guys again for 2026, but make sure you check that out. Put Dave Denholm on the call while you're watching Apple TV.
I do appreciate that. Let's go to around the rest of MLS. Mario is boy, this show flies by, I got to tell you. So, but let's go before we run out of time. Around the rest of MLS, it's the conference finals. We'll briefly touch on these, just kind of no real surprises. I mean, NYCFC beating Philly was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think Philadelphia, they are a very good regular season team. I didn't think they would win the cup now that's easy for me to say now, but no real surprise. But Mario, who's stopping Inter Miami right now? They just dismantled Cincinnati on the road. Rodrigo De Paul, I mean, we talk about big signings in the summer. Obviously, Son was the biggest, but man, Rodrigo De Paul joining Inter Miami is kind of almost under the radar in a way because he's not like a huge goal scorer. Rodrigo De Paul is just a world-class player, and he's not like, again, he's not going to score 20 goals or anything like that. He didn't come in and dominate on the stat sheet because it's not his job, but he does his job to near perfection for that team, and the defense has benefited from it, and the offense has certainly benefited from it, and Messi is just Messi, and my gosh, they got the young kids playing well, Mario. Like, people forget about that too. Like, there's some real good young talent on that team. So Vetti,
that's exactly what I'm talking about with Messi doing his recruiting and bringing in some of his buddies. Like, if Sonny can do that for LAFC, can you imagine that? All of a sudden you get some, top class player in the midfield or wherever it's going to be, a finisher, whatever it's going to be. That is just going to be so huge. But yeah, Inter Miami is just a strong favorite in my opinion now, with home field advantage going all the way through the MLS Cup playoffs, with Philadelphia getting knocked out by NYCFC. But it was very unfortunate to see Andre Blake, one of the best keepers in MLS history, to go down with that injury and ultimately getting knocked out of the playoffs. And now it's just Miami getting that home field advantage the rest of the way. And they just look unstoppable, putting the beat down on FC Cincinnati. He was a really good team. That was my team. That was the team that I picked at the very, very beginning of the year to come out of the East. And they did well right up until they saw Inter Miami in the playoffs when they got, trounced there. But Inter Miami probably the rest of the way.
And the West is 1-2, as we know. Obviously, San Diego FC get by Minnesota United in a tough game. No surprise, Minnesota United. That's how they're going to treat everybody that way. They're going to grind a game down and try to win it 1-0. Well, they lose 1-0 to San Diego. Andres Dreyer just keeps going. Hosting, of course, the team that knocked us out, Vancouver. here's the problem, Mario, and this is not sour grapes. This has nothing to do with us losing to them. Vancouver have no chance in this game. I'm sorry. Now, this is a team that you would normally say they have a chance against anyone in the world. I mean, literally, Vancouver could play. But losing Tristan Blackman is so massive, and losing Bilal Halbouni, the guy, the comes off the bench as a center back, because they just are running out of. How are you going to win this game? Now, I know they got talent all over the pitch. I'm not downplaying Vancouver, certainly with Thomas Muller. LAFC handled Thomas Muller pretty well. Let's be honest. They put out a blueprint a little bit in terms of handling him. But it's a team that's going to scrap and claw on him. But San Diego, shame on them if they don't win at home against a team that's so banged up in the back for Vancouver. I just don't think Vancouver has much of a chance now because of the
I think this one is probably the most interesting match remaining of all the rest, even all the way through the MLS Cup final. I do think that Vancouver is that good. I think they are a good team, even with those guys that are missing, like you mentioned, banged up players, injured players, Tristan Blackman out on suspension. I do think that it kind of evens the playing field now. I think San Diego do have that home field advantage, which is, going for them. That's huge. And they're led by Anders Dreyer. And Dreyer has been MVP type player for them and MVP type player really for the whole league. That's how good he really is. So he's leading the way. But I think this is going to be a very close match. I think it can go to pens. That's how much I think Vancouver want this and just feel motivated. I think Vancouver are just riding high after knocking down LAFC. I think they respected LAFC, and they thought that if they beat LAFC, I think they can go to the MLS Cup final. They're one game away from going to the MLS Cup final. So I feel like Vancouver still is very confident, even though they're losing some players. But yeah, San Diego is rolling as well. But this is going to be the ultimate test.
San Diego all year, this guy on this show. This guy right here, Mario Ruiz. You've never respected San Diego all season long. And
I got to respect one of these two teams because I didn't respect Vancouver until they beat us here in the playoffs too. So now my ultimate respect for Vancouver. So I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's an even matchup.
It's a good point, though. I like what you're saying there. In a way, you don't give respect easily. That's for sure. So hey, just so you know, of course, we don't have a broadcast coming up. Obviously, these games are not being played by LAFC, but we're going to be continuing the show throughout the offseason. Our plan right now. We'll probably take a little time off as we go, more like a every other week schedule. We'll let you know, of course. We will be having a show next week, first week of December. But, yeah, then we'll kind of outline where we're heading for the offseason, which really doesn't last that long, quite frankly. We're almost already in December, which is insane. And they'll be kicking a ball around in anger and, hopefully early to mid-February in the Champions Cup again, like we talked about.
Yes.
Mario, we'll be back next week. Great stuff. Episode 83 in the books. Take us out here, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk to you guys. We'll catch you next week for sure. We'll wrap up some of the MLS Cup playoffs again. And of course, there's always going to be LAFC news, so make sure you stay tuned to LAFC Plus podcast. That's my man right there, Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Ruiz. We'll catch you on the next one. This has been LAFC Plus. Peace.